about buying a bike.
What type of
Well,
bike?
you know, I'm wondering
Funds are.
what with college and all at once.
Oh, hold on. The metal music is still playing.
Oh. All right.
Check, check, check. So,
I'll just wait.
Kyle, what? There we go.
I see me.
All right. DJ, turn it up. So tonight we're chatting about. Oh, you were going to buy a bicycle. That's right.
Back, reverse. Yeah, what if I wanted to buy a bike? And funds were a little tight, but I wanted to buy, I kind of ensured that I got a good deal on what I was buying. How does someone do that?
Is there a place that
I feel like buying
like a Lexus, like a pre-owned certified Lexus?
Well, something like that for bikes, wouldn't that be great? Because otherwise, it's just Facebook Marketplace. There's so much stuff out there. What do I do?
Yeah.
Craigslist. You know, I don't know too much about bikes, so how do I know I'm getting a bike that's a good deal and that's proper? That
How?
fits me. It's not broken.
I wish there was a CarMax for bicycles.
Ooh, is that what CarMax does?
Pre-certified owned used.
They pre-certify
pre-owned,
ownership of used
certified
machines?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's not really that much cheaper. They just say hey, if it breaks, we'll cover you for 6 months.
We'll cover you, kinda. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody knows where we're going because it was already in our title. We're talking tonight about the pros closet closing, but not just about the pros closet closing, because there's any number of things that you can read or watch online about the pros closet closing. We'll get to some of that. But a little bit about just buying and selling of bikes, but particularly used bikes, just how you get bikes and how the market's working to get bikes from one person to another person, or from one place to a specific person, so it can be ridden. That's what we're doing. That's all.
Yeah, just talk about used bikes in general and marketplaces. And what I want to touch on what the process at Pros Closet was.
Well, let's talk about the Pros Closet for a little bit anyway. And everybody who's probably listening to us, watching us, all you millions of people, most people know what the Pros Closet is or was. Which Pros Closet was a place that sold used bikes.
Yeah,
more or less. But that's not what it used to be. Do you remember what it was when it started?
Well, it used to be that it's kind of like buying old pros gear, because pros turn their gear over every season. You get a new bike every season to be up on the hot trends of the cycling industry. So,
and it wasn't even bikes mostly to begin with. It was a lot of apparel. So it came out of Boulder. I don't know when. Early
in the year 2000.
2010s-ish, somewhere in there. Well, they said 18 years. So 18 years minus 2024. I don't do that math. That's on you. But as far as, from what I remember, I tried to do some journalism and some research looking and find out the exact history and stuff. I didn't find it, so we're going to go off of my memory, which is better anyway. It's better. So my recollection is, I mean, I know how to read, but
it's hard.
It's hard.
It's getting harder too.
You know, and I never know if the words are fake words.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, right. Well, so I remember when they opened. Yeah, it was a place in Boulder, because there's a lot of professional road cyclists in Boulder who would unload mostly their old apparel. So jerseys, bibs, jackets, shoe covers, warm clothes, stuff like that. What ex-pro cyclists or pro cyclists would sell off this stuff for super cheap to the Pros Closet. Pros Closet would buy it from them and then you could buy this stuff from them. That's where the name came from, Pros Closet. So it was more kind of built around that stuff. And then they kind of started at some point adding in bikes or whatever. They definitely started making an eBay like store for all this stuff.
Yeah, I think that was the big money maker.
That was the moneymaker at that point. And after that, they just got bigger and bigger. Like they started adding more stuff. The idea of buying used stuff
and it got
from a central location was kind of appealing to people. Like you could, they opened some kind of location where everything was there instead of just being all on the eBay store or mail order, and you could kind of go take a look at it and buy things. And they started adding bikes and some parts and stuff to the mix. Well, other things happened then, and this is where our show is going to get real crummy, where people are like, "What? These guys don't know what they're doing." We don't. Basically, one of the biggest, they got bought out, I think, a couple of times.
Or investments were made.
Investments were made, or whatever. And the biggest series of investments kind of came around the 2020 mark.
Yeah.
And at that point, the Pros Closet started to just explode. Now, obviously, at 2020, we were dealing with the pandemic issue, and that was a two-sided thing. It was one, we saw bikes getting sold like crazy, so we had a supply issue, and people wanting to buy bikes. And so the Pros Closet started buying up a lot of people's used bikes during 2020. I personally sold, I think, one bike to them.
Oh, okay.
I sold a Scott Ransom to them for, I think, $4,000.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. That was when I was needing every penny I could get to pay off my debts from closing down my bike shop. So I sold that to them. But the cool thing was, at that point, they started to make it kind of easy to sell a bike to them. I feel like I'm the only one talking, but I can back up a little bit.
Yeah, keep going.
I can back up a little bit, because prior to this, so I closed my retail store in 2019. In the years prior to me closing in 2019, every winter I would get contacted from somebody at the Pros Closet offering to buy up old inventory.
Oh, interesting.
So what the Pros Closet would do at that point is kind of play vulture with bike shops. Contact them during their difficult time of year and basically offer them at or just below what they paid on stuff. Never anything more, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were industry people. They knew what was going on, so they kind of had an idea of what to offer. And in that way, they were able to get new product, so it wasn't used.
Yeah, I was unaware of that strategy.
Yeah. So they would do this. So bike shops, especially in the Denver area, because at that point they were kind of keeping some of this stuff local, they would send, if I never actually sold anything to them, because once I saw what they were offering me for my product, which was basically my cost, I was like, well, if I'm going to sell something for no money, for no profit, then I'm going to sell it to somebody who I know, who is going to be a customer of mine.
Yeah. You might as well make someone's day with a deal.
So I never sold anything to the Pros Closet. I was like, well, I can hold this and I don't have to sell it for my cost to you, in January, just because January sucks. All right. But that's what they would do. So, but some shops would. I mean, and no shade there. No shade there. But that's when they started, I think, probably they were able to start acquiring some new product through bike shops at that point.
Okay.
Then I closed the store in 2019. Then 2020, they experienced some, I don't know how investment, some venture capital, guys in cool suits or like
we're not
skinny
financiers.
suit pants and stuff.
Yeah.
Throwing around ventures.
Lambos.
Yeah. Well, these
Ferraris.
Yeah.
Ferraris.
Working for organizations whose title ends in the word group.
Yeah. Not the Gingy Cycling Group.
Right. No. Well, so they had a huge influx of money in 2020. Tens of millions of dollars. Somewhere on their website, I saw that 2020 was like $27 million they raised in 2020.
Which is just nuts to me because
so much money.
It's used bikes. Now, there is a high-end market in bikes, but it's still used bikes. So, like, it just boggles my mind. Any shop that has done used bikes, you get stuck with inventory. You get stuck with, you have a size extra small, super high-end bike, and it sits on your floor for 2 years.
Right.
And so that, just dealing with the used market, it's like, are you going to make that match with the market?
Right.
And it just boggles my mind that they've raised so many millions of dollars.
So somehow, somewhere along the line, some people with some means saw some value in this business.
Yeah.
And dumped a boatload of money into it.
Yes.
Several boatloads, several medium-sized boatloads of money were dumped into this place, starting in the 2020s.
Yeah, the big thing was the app that it was coming out that was going to allow people, and I went through it actually to kind of check it out and see what it is, but allowed you to like put your bike model in, pictures of your bike, go around, take pictures, and then send it off, and somebody would evaluate it and see if it was a brand they want to carry, because they didn't do all brands. They didn't, they're not going to take a Pacific. Like, they're going to take stuff that's probably a minimum of $2,000. I don't know what the minimums were. I'd love to chat with somebody about it.
Requirements,
But the app was a big thing. Apps are expensive. So, that was a huge chunk. But then that opens you up to, a lot more folks when you have a seamless app experience, I guess.
Sure, yeah, because apparently we all want to live on our phones
and not go into a bike shop. You want to just buy and sell your bike on the phone.
So in the years following 2020, they started like buying bikes left and right, and I remember them paying a lot of money for bikes back then.
You couldn't get bikes.
Well, you couldn't get bikes, but then so they were offering like good money to buy bikes from people to be able to put into their store. And that was the other thing that happened is they moved into a massive location somewhere in that 21-ish or whatever. What was it?
137,000 square feet, which is massive.
Like it's like probably twice the size of here.
I mean,
probably roughly guessing.
That's like 3 football fields. I don't know how to do
big.
Square footage. I'm not a genius, but 130,000 square feet is massive.
It's massive. So they moved into this massive warehouse thing. And then they started doing all kinds of things, which seemed pretty cool. So they opened up like a storefront. So you could go there and you could like shop the bikes there, which is cool. So now you're going to this giant bike store that's ostensibly only dealing in used bike, but they were throwing in new stuff from like All City and other companies. All right, or new stuff that they had purchased off of bike shops who were struggling in the winter. But now they have this place you could go, you could look at stuff, cool, shop the bike, try the bike out, great. Then they opened up like a bike repair shop, and they had these like wash stations, and they started hosting bike rides, and like in part of these bike rides you could show up and like get your bike washed and cleaned and not tuned up, but like quick wash and everything real quick, like as a service that they did because you went on this bike ride that was part of whatever they were doing, which is maybe a training ride for some like other local event or whatever. So they did some cool stuff that was kind of community based, partnering with stuff, had all this bike shop stuff. You could get your bike worked on there. Cool if you were in the area to be able to like drop by and have them be your bike shop, have your bike worked on. Again, in the cool shop, like lots of money was dumped into expensive stands, expensive tools, Hopefully expensive people. I don't know. I never had my bike worked on there.
I don't think they were bad with like. I don't think they were bottom of the barrel pay wise, but I don't think it was like crazy good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like 18, $20 an hour from
probably
I remember.
Normal.
I could be wrong, but from
normal
what I remember.
bike industry job.
Yeah.
Other cool stuff they did, and I want to give them credit for the cool stuff they did. I mean, I guess if you're going to take a ton of money and just start throwing it around, stuff I would kind of thought was cool. Like big location, gorgeous, bike service stuff, events. They opened a bike museum where they basically kept acquiring like museum pieces of bike history over the decades, which was, I never went and looked at it because it was in Louisville. What the fuck am I doing in Louisville?
It's like an hour away from you.
It's an hour in good traffic. And there is no such thing as good traffic in Denver anymore.
You could probably ride your bike there quicker. Or an e-bike
right.
even quicker.
Dude,
yeah, bike trail all the way.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, they started that, and that was cool. That was a great, seemed like a very like a reasonable addition to their entire business. And sort of from the outside, everything looked like this is the way this business should work, right? You're getting new used bikes, you're turning them over, you're tuning them up, cleaning them, you're adding in some service to kind of bring in some high profit stuff, selling some parts, doing like they were heavily involved in the community, and then their online content was fantastic.
Definitely putting a lot of, I guess, an emphasis on bike culture and putting some content out and being active in the community.
Yeah, I didn't follow them on like any of their platforms. I don't spend a lot of time doing that, but
because you're busy fixing bikes.
I'm so busy fixing bikes, and honestly, like I don't usually give very many shits about other people's like bike content because my tea kettle's full.
Yeah,
of bike content. I don't need to consume more of it. There's plenty of it in my life. But when we were preparing for the show, doing our journalism, I was like, oh yeah, these guys made a ton of videos. Like their archive on their websites, tons of stuff.
Especially back in the day, some of the interviews of like ex-pro mountain bike racers talking about riding a specific bike. Yeah, you know, like an old. There's one about an old Cannondale. I mean, Cannondale did so much revolutionary stuff back in the day that just was before its time. And so it's kind of cool to go back and see, you know, you see something like an Ibis with, you know, the linkage of an Ibis. And like Cannondale was trying to do similar stuff like 25 years ago.
Right. They were just guessing on pivot locations, but they were working on it. Well, point is, they were doing a lot of stuff. Like they weren't just like had a big location and trying to buy. Like it seemed to be that they were doing all the things you're supposed to do in terms of like the diversification of their business to make it profitable, to make it work. Right? That's so many avenues of what you're supposed to be able to do, but yet here we are. October 1st, and they're closing down. Yeah. So, question needs to be asked: what the fuck happened?
That's
like,
I mean,
you had lots of money. You had a good, a known brand that had respect. You seem to be ticking the boxes of what should be done. Now, I think this is a little bit of a lesson for the bike industry and bike shops in general. It's like just because you seem to be ticking all the boxes. There's no guarantee that things work.
I mean, what would you do with $40 million?
I would probably borrow a lot more money in addition to it, take it all, and then bounce out of the country and then wait for
peace out.
Because creditors can't get me in Aruba. So
I think I was thinking retire in Vietnam. And
Vietnam, huh?
Yeah. Bounce around Vietnam.
Sure.
Maybe spend some time in Mexico.
Yeah.
$40 million.
I think we're on the same page here. Yeah. Yeah, I just was hoping to be able to like get like I want to double my money. I want to double my money and bounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the term blitz scaling?
Das Blitzscaling.
Yes, blitz scaling.
No, I'd love for you to tell me what this is, because I think you tried to tell me earlier and sounded pretty highfalutin. Highfalutin if you ask me.
Take over the market, like as fast as you can.
Like with your guns?
Yeah. Go in as fast as you can and grow as fast as you can, so no other competition can compete with you.
Okay.
I mean, essentially, with
Wait,
being
did
able
you
to
make
post
this
with
word
an
up,
app.
or is this like a
No,
real
this
thing?
is like a tech bro.
Oh.
Like if you drive a Tesla, you're like, I'm making a new app. Let's blitz scale it, bro. Let's
take over.
Go in, take over,
Let's dominate this whole area.
And then you ask, how are we gonna make money? And I go, it doesn't matter, dude. Let's just blitz scale it.
Ooh.
And like, I mean, 130,000 square foot warehouse. I mean, that just the power every day. That's got to be $4,000 in just power bills, heating, cooling, electricity.
That's insane.
Like just on power, and then you got to put people in it, and then
people are
facility.
cheap.
Yeah, that's. Don't worry about bike mechanics.
People.
Well, bike mechanics will work for peanuts, bubblegum, socks, and water bottles.
Yeah.
And cool little hats.
And a periodic, and a loosely, mediocrely stocked beer fridge.
PBR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, PBR is good quality.
PBR and fat tire.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Fat tire's all right. So, like, a huge warehouse.
Yeah.
Tons of overhead. Also, the marketing. I mean, in 2020, I felt like I was like seeing ads for the Pros Closet everywhere. I mean, Facebook, Instagram, and being on our phones as much as we are, you see that constantly. So I was like, wow.
All right. So
I even applied for a job there for content creator.
How'd that go?
I didn't hear anything back.
How did you just like fill out a paper application? Did you talk with a person? And
I filled out an app and sent it in.
And nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
You're supposed to go down there, man. Bust them down. Bust those walls.
Just
doors. Sorry.
Hey, I'm
Wanted
Nick.
to.
Bust those walls down, dude.
Yeah, walls. I said walls, not balls.
But like just building an app. Like they had a pretty cool app that you could go on and mess around with.
You think their app cost hundreds of thousands?
Yeah.
Easily?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say an app develop. Just even if you outsourced the app building to like some other country.
Sure.
You have to have somebody run that, and that person's salary in the tech world, like that's $200,000 a year.
Okay.
Like somebody, like a director of technology.
Why don't we get those jobs?
We should do technology.
Sorry, we're gonna quit this.
Yeah.
And go do that.
See, because people buy phones more often and computers.
I love it. So
the internet's going to be big someday.
What happened then? What happened with the Pros Log? If it seemed like they had it together,
yeah.
What happened?
Well,
why are they closing? Not just closing down, but like closing down kind of all of a sudden. Because this is it's a surprise to some people. It's a small.
It's been happening for a few months.
We've been seeing it for a few months. Like,
yeah.
I used to check their stock periodically just because they used to have in. This is kind of why I liked them. Is they used to get in like some unique stuff, mostly road bike wise. So like, I have like, in my opinion, you can buy like a sort of either vintage or special style road bike. And spend decent money on it, and it'd be cool, especially even if it's old. If you do that with a mountain bike, it's not really worth it. So they used to get things like some like cool old steel, not old, but like custom-made steel road bikes from unique hand builders, would show up on their website, Pegarettis and Vanillas and stuff like that. Stuff that you just can't buy and that you wouldn't get if you wanted to try. Like you can't even get a Pegaretti made now, right? So I used to look for some of that stuff. Like, oh, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. At a certain point in the last year, oh, Rich is here.
Oh, we have a customer picking up a bike.
He's dropping stuff off.
Oh, he's dropping a
Hey,
bike
buddy.
off.
Howdy.
Did you get my message?
Yeah.
Welcome to the
All right.
show.
You want on the show?
What you got? What, you upload trace?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're live right now.
We're live right. We're live right now
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah, Jason's
Talking
just
about the pros
checking
closet.
checking
Oh,
in
really?
some.
How do you
some
feel?
work.
How do you feel? Come on over here.
Very, very interesting.
How do you feel about the pros closet closing? You have to talk close to one of us because we have the microphones. Oh,
Got the
he'll
microphone
hold
right
it.
here.
Okay.
Did
well,
you ever buy or sell from the pros closet?
Yeah, I just started using the pros closet and finished 2 deals with them. And actually, Jason is working on a bike right now that I just got from them.
Well, that's right. Yeah. The
I traded
XC
it.
came
I
from
traded
them.
in a
Yeah.
trail bike that just never worked for me,
Yeah.
and I thought I was going to get a pittance on it.
Mm-hmm.
They gave me double what I thought I was going to get.
Whoa.
And I was able to that was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And then I traded up to this Ibis, which is 1 year old, which is full axis with a reverb dropper. And the bike is an incredible bike. It's 7 pounds lighter than the bike I had before.
Win.
So a total win. Then I had an extra set of 27 and a half wheels.
That's right.
That because the trail bike could be 27 and a half as well as 29. So I Jason built them up for me and didn't fix the problem. And I traded those in. Those were 2 years old.
Yeah, at the most. Yeah.
2 years old.
Yeah.
And I got a good amount of money for them.
Yeah.
I was very happy. I got more than half the value of them after 2 years.
Was it like a high-end wheel set, carbon rims?
Yeah.
Carbon rims.
Yep.
There was a DT Swiss 350, I think.
Yeah.
No, it was a 240.
It was the 240s on
240.
them.
Yeah. No, it was a good set of wheels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they had a very interesting structure where you would get a 3-part offer if they wanted to take your stuff, and they would give you immediate cash, and then if you let them coax it in their inventory and send it to you 60 days later, then it was another third.
Oh, a little delayed.
And then if you were going to use the funds to buy something in TPC, you got another third on top of that.
Oh, yep. Okay.
Right. So I went from like roughly $1,500-$1,600 for the bike to $3,100 to the point where the bike, the Ibis was like $5,000, $5,100.
Yeah.
And because they were running a sale over the summer, if you bought anything from them from 5,000 and up, you got 1,000 off. So the bike was only 4,100 after the discount, and then I had 3,200 that TPC gave me
In credit,
So
yeah.
I got a $7,200 bike for like $800. Yeah, so I'm really upset that TPC is going out.
But do you feel like?
But I have a full understanding as to why.
Yeah.
Were they too generous? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think that's what it is. I think that the industry is really roiled now.
Well, we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if them moving to that, basically the state of Nebraska that they bought.
They bought the state of Nebraska.
I mean, it was pretty much the same.
Yeah.
It's the biggest.
130,000 square feet.
It's the biggest thing I've ever seen. It's like a UPS drop station. It's incredible. But so that's the sort of my experience. But that's only part of my experience. The rest of the experience is the people and the responsiveness, and just their attitude when you were in the store. They were just the nicest people you could find. I know there was one thing was wrong with the bike, with the brake, and it's certified. So they said, bring it back in, and they put on new brakes and
Is that why you got a set of mismatched Hope V Tech 4s on there?
That's right. That is correct. That is correct. But they fixed everything.
Yeah.
So they stood behind their product. So I was.
Yeah, at least they stood. I
was
mean,
pleased.
they stood behind it even though they were on their way out. So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, they definitely hired people within that had been in shops and had experience. So you're getting good people that know bikes and hopefully good customer service.
Yeah. It was an interesting place too. It was a sort of a museum.
Yeah.
They had a lot of really interesting bikes.
Yep.
I mean, the whole Boulder area is filled with cycling.
Yeah,
lore.
there's no shortage of cycling history.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Plus, they really supported racing. I mean, they put on a criterium there, which is really more circuit race. I think the lap was like around 2 miles. I didn't race it. I was just there.
Okay.
I was just there.
Well, we were just talking about that. Their investment into the community, rides, events, racing.
Yeah.
It was so we were just talking about how they seem to be ticking a lot of the boxes and things that you'd think a company should be doing, and yet here we are, October 1st, and they're announcing closure. So
after 18 years.
So, well, yeah, but the company that is closing now is not the company that it was. It's not even the same people that it was 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
That I couldn't speak to.
Yeah,
because I had no experience with them until I moved out. I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, so it is a different.
Go Jersey.
It's fundamentally a different company that it was.
I'm sure it is.
Once upon a time.
In
fact, Travis was just talking about on our chat about buying bikes from him back in he says the late 90s. So I didn't even know that they went back that far. So that's an interesting perspective there.
Yeah, they had just a small shop in Boulder, right?
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. Yeah,
it was 3 years they've been in this facility, I think.
Yeah, huge.
So did they just Icarus the shit out of it? Did they just fly to the sun and get burned? Is that what happened? Is that really just
that's got to be part of it. That has to be part of it. I mean, you got to make your nut, and that's a big expense. I mean, just to put HVAC in that place.
That's exactly what he was saying.
Yeah, I was just saying electricity on a warehouse. I mean, the places I've worked at are like 60,000 square feet. It's thousands.
But the thing,
just the heat and
the
electric.
thing I couldn't see is whether they had a solar array up on the roof. Yeah. I'm hoping they did. I know I've got one on my garage. I don't pay any electricity.
Are you familiar with the term blitz scaling?
No, I'm not. No, but that's I'm about to learn, I assume.
Yeah, it's just the idea of just go in and take over a market as fast as possible and beat everyone out.
Yeah, very warlike.
I know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but it's just...
Yeah, George Carlin would have done something with that.
100%, but it's just I hear it in the tech industry of just be the first person to Instagram and Facebook and
Yeah, well, the advances that they made just in their social outreach. For example, they obviously had an investment in software there. I go in there and I tell them, here's everything I want in a bike, and every time something comes in, I get a tailored email.
Oh, interesting. Again, yes,
exactly.
That's the sort of thing you should be doing.
Right,
love it.
It was the best thing I've ever seen. It saved so much, so I didn't have to go in and browse through 1,000 bikes.
But if something popped in that met your criteria, they would let you know
immediately.
That's amazing.
As soon as it comes in, I get a crack at it.
Okay,
which was really good.
That's awesome. I didn't know that they. I mean, I get the idea that they were covering so many things.
How did this even happen? Okay, so I go to the Foco Fondo. I'm racing the Foco Fondo. one of the guys on my team, Wholesome Masters Racing, yeah, syrups and sugars, okay, organic always.
He's always pumping.
You gotta temp a little, you know.
Right.
So I decide, I really miss mountain biking. When I was back in Jersey, I was racing, I was doing marathon. I actually won a state championship once upon a time, as hard as it is for me to believe. Boy, they must have woken up and did really bad that day. But in any event, I got it, and I miss it. I want to get back to it. I'm racing mostly cyclocross and some road and time trials.
Gravel. You're racing gravel.
I guess I'm racing a little gravel.
Participate.
Yeah.
What? No. You got.
I got second.
Second
on
Second and unbound.
in the 100 mile, not the 200. So
I know.
And in my age group, okay, which is old AF.
Have you ridden the new trail at Lair of the Bear?
No, I haven't.
Oh.
It's a new trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rutabaga.
One of our mutual friends hates Larry the Bear. Lee, he just hates Larry the Bear.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
He says it's horrible. He said the trail is just awful. It's just rocks and.
I mean, if you don't like rocks, you're not gonna like Lair of the Bear. So
it's called the Rocky Mountains. So
yeah. True. But you can run on Slick Rock, which is little nicer.
It's
than
a rock.
It's one rock to the next.
It's one rock, yeah.
To the next. Where was I going? I was going. So Foco Fondo.
Yeah.
So I looked and I did some quick research, and it looked like the Specialized Epic, or the Ibis, or the Yeti were the three big cross country bikes out there. And I wanted the Epic, and they had one, and somebody grabbed it ahead of me. And then they had a big booth at Foco Fondo, again doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, and told me, look, you should really consider the Ibis. A little heavier, but it's still super light. And I went in the next day, Monday. Went in Monday when they opened.
Yeah.
And I test rode the bike. It was fabulous.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. So I'm not really sure, if they've overextended themselves. I mean, the one thing I noticed, I was waiting to see my bike out on the sales.
Yeah.
And I never did see it. And it ostensibly would have come to me because I'm still in there. I still get notices of every small frame that comes in.
Yeah.
And mine was a small frame.
Sure.
And it never came through. So I have a feeling they never. That's a piece of inventory they're holding.
I think you did excellent with the Ibis. I think that's the bike I would.
That bike's fucking great. Yeah.
I'm thrilled with it. It's just so it's comfortable. I feel it's the first 29er I've had because I was racing back in New Jersey at 27.5 giant Anthem Advanced, and which I loved, but it's old technology and it was time to move on. I had the bike.
It's time to move on. It's always time to move on.
It's always time to move on.
Upgrade.
Yeah, it's upgrade. It was like, I mean, it wasn't a heavy bike. It was still,
that time. It was time to move on from that.
It was
one.
pretty good.
Agreed.
Yeah. So but I like it. You feel like you're in the bike, not on the bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really feel.
We've talked about that with 29er geometry.
Especially with 29ers.
Over the years, yeah.
Yeah, and we're making a few modifications. Jason's doing that now.
Yeah. Not now.
Well, not
tomorrow.
Right now.
It's on the calendar.
Yes. putting new bars, shorter stem on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything for me is shorter.
Yeah.
It's vertically challenged here.
Well.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rich.
Hey. Thanks.
Thanks for coming on
I
the show.
thoroughly
and
enjoyed
we're
it.
gluing
I'm
tires.
glad I didn't shave. So
Yeah.
I know we're going for grit here.
Yeah. This is down and dirty around here.
Yeah.
You know.
There's no clean shirts.
No. My shirts are clean for like 20 minutes out of the day, and then it's game over.
So where's the other glass for the?
Where's the guest glass?
Well, I gave you a warning. I said you didn't respond.
Oh, okay.
It's our
You're welcome
surprise
to stay and drink
guest.
whiskey if you want, but you got to drive.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. This is going out on the air.
This is live.
Oh, this is live.
I am not admitting or denying anything.
Yes,
I-
and I am
100%.
not. I am not a licensed attorney in Colorado, so I want to make that clear.
Not in Colorado.
The opinions that I've expressed are not mine, but those of other people who I
Yes,
just
who
trust.
chatted
Yes,
with.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Up top.
Okay.
Hi, buddy.
On the
I mean,
website.
you're welcome to. We're gonna keep chatting. We got
Okay.
20 minutes left of. Wow.
Live
as long as
airtime.
we want. We do this every Tuesday. Have you even
Oh,
seen
do
it?
you?
Yeah.
I
You got
Every Tuesday.
so
well-
TPC's was doing everything they should be doing. You apparently, on the other hand.
When it comes to the marketing, we all know that I am the worst.
No, you don't like that stuff.
What was you saying? I got that.
I'm working
I
on
spend
it.
my whole.
Yeah.
I spend my every minute doing all the other stuff.
We're
So,
going to
yeah.
get some good photos on his website. We
That's
got a
right.
show every week. We're
Yeah.
building it up.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey, you want to put something out on Wahoo? On
Wahoo?
This,
What are you talking
So
about?
you're supposed to have a tether here. So I'm riding cyclocross race. and
Yeah.
I'm shouldering the bike in the mud.
Did you rip it off?
Well, there's a tether kit which you have to
I
pay
believe
for.
Sure.
They
He's
unlike
ripped
Garmin,
off
So
the
this
computer
little hatch,
on his bike.
This
Yeah.
little hatch goes there, and look at the screw that they give you.
Yeah, it's delightfully small.
It doesn't even reach the hole. So the idea is you put this little
So right now,
lanyard
Jason
there,
is
comes out there,
diagnosing-
and then you seal it up with the cover, but it
broken
doesn't-
long
computer.
enough.
It screws
So am I
up long
fixing
enough.
this for you too?
The
Um,
show's
you got
live,
this.
folks.
Can you do this right live on the air?
Live on the air.
Live on the air?
Oh, my
Are
goodness.
you a bike genius?
Yes.
We're gonna see if my.
This is a. By the way, this is a bolt tether kit that Wahoo sent me after the one I bought from somebody else failed, and this is a Rome, not
I'm
a
asking
bolt.
a lot of my eyeballs.
So
at
I
this time.
just wrote to them and asked them, is there a difference between, because I can't believe the screw that they provide. I mean, look at that, how small that screw is, and it's got to go
Is
through.
it?
It's got to go through this cover,
Yeah.
and then get into that hole.
That is a tiny,
It's the tiniest bolt.
tiniest little bolt.
Yeah, and so I was hoping maybe Jason had a longer one.
Well, it's
that's what she said.
it's a weird. it's a weird like coarse thread screw. So it's not a.
This is pretty much live bike shop right now.
Yeah, we're
This
live.
is how bike shop stuff goes. Yeah.
I think we should just run a bike shop live on the internet.
I've always
what are your
talked about
thoughts?
just running a webcam,
What was the
but then all you get is my complaining.
what was the movie with the guy Jim Carrey was in?
Truman Show.
Truman Show. Yeah, maybe
Yes.
maybe we do that.
Yeah, this is what it looks like right here.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, we have we got a high quality camera.
I'm backwards though.
It flips.
It does flip.
It flips.
You
I'm
got a
not
little.
sure this is my good side.
Is it,
Yeah.
hold on, we gotta flip around. Talk to Jason more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we have to answer the question. So you seem to have some really, really good experiences with the Pros Closet.
Yes. Yeah.
If you go on the internet, which is a very big world,
A vast world.
you will find a lot of people who did not have good experiences with the Pros Closet.
really.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lots of very, very angry people who received broken product, stuff that had not been actually worked
QC
on,
issues.
argumentations with employees because they wouldn't cover things.
Yeah.
They wouldn't
I
stick to
will
their
say,
word.
can the camera follow me?
No,
No.
we're
If you look
we're
on
fixed.
if you look on the wheel,
Yeah.
you know the old thing, the label, the logo
Yeah.
for the tire is supposed to be right where the valve is. That's pretty standard
That's-
stuff.
that's-
That's one of the rules, isn't it?
Yeah. Bike Shop 101 is
That is-
line your valve up with the label of your tire.
Right.
So
The Illuminati.
yeah,
Right? That's
yeah.
it's almost like orthodoxy, not putting your sunglasses under the helmet straps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's not there.
It's not. I'm looking at
It's not
it.
even close.
It's off about 30 degrees.
It's
Maybe.
not even close.
Yeah.
I don't really speak.
So
I'm from
it's-
New Jersey. We don't talk in degrees.
So it's time to return it. Return it.
But it's actually the reason that's done is a diagnostic tool, because if your valve is lined up with your logo on your tire, then you can find a puncture easier, because you can line it up, you can feel in the tire, and you can go, oh, that's
gives
where
you
the issue
a point of
comes from.
reference. Yeah.
Exactly.
Point of reference.
Great point of reference. And when you're in a rush, just before a race, you got to get the staging, and you're just not satisfied with your tire pressure, and you want to put a little more in. You got to find the valve.
Yeah.
And
It's just function.
getting to the line a minute later or even 30 seconds later can actually cost you. I actually made a time trial at left-hand.
I don't think this is the right piece for this.
I'm sure it isn't. But I don't think they make it.
Somebody failed in customer service.
Well, all right.
Wahoo
I might have to do some hunting of screws.
Well, I don't want to get Wahoo pissed off at me because I can't Garmin already. So
Well, we have 5 watchers right now. I mean, 5 million.
5 million.
5 million right now.
Yeah.
But
does anybody else out there in bike shop YouTube land have this problem?
with Wahoo?
With the bolt that you can't attach a tether to it, or if you do, it's not worth anything because the screw barely touches any of the threads.
Yeah, it really does barely go.
So, I mean, if you think about the forces that would take a computer out of its mount, it's going to be a pretty violent experience. So it's not going to be just a
You're
gentle
a violent
fall
fella.
out.
Yeah, it's going to fall and wiggle and flop like a
So
dead chicken.
I lost the Varia that way in Unbound, and that's not cheap. So all of a sudden, I was on this enormous descent. It was a great chunky descent, double track, and I'm flying down it. And all of a sudden, I hear, and it actually came out. The tether ripped off. Obviously, it went into the spokes, came through the spokes, came in the chain. I felt it crunch, and for a second, I thought, I think that's my Varia. Should I stop? Nah.
Just keep. It's gone.
Gone.
It's done.
God,
It's
that's,
in,
the
but I
that's
don't-
the cost of podium. Podium. I can't say that.
Po-
Being on the podium.
Correct.
Yes, that's the way
Yes.
to do it.
Well, it's
I learned that in speech therapy, by the way.
podium.
No, the talking around things that you
Oh.
can't say.
Yeah, it's only grabbing like
Oh.
a half a thread. It just
know.
isn't long enough. Well, should we try to find some longer screw? Or
That was what I was hoping.
Curtis Cole says the show's gone off the road. No, Jason just runs a bike shop out of his house, and people come at random hours.
yeah, not random. I mean, 8:30's a.
No.
I don't know.
8:30.
It's
What
about.
shop do you know that it's open till 8:30?
This is with the wonder of the Gingy cycles. You can come at
Yeah.
8:30 and then get spontaneously put into a
Yeah, well,
YouTube
this-
TV show.
But this is like, this is not real. This is not,
This is-
this is like I just stepped into it. That I actually have, like, people I think will understand. Your bike mechanic is more important to you than your family doctor.
You heard it here first.
If you believe in the religion of bikes, if you worship at the church in a big ring,
Amen, brother.
your bike mechanic is everything. If you're
Yeah.
racing and you're breaking shit, you got to break stuff.
Yeah.
One way or another, or really damage it. And what do?
Well,
I mean, I have a lot of bikes, that's for sure, but I actually don't have a B cyclocross bike here. And if I didn't have Jason, I don't know what I would do, because
Can
there's no
we-
way I could go to a regular bike shop and get the service that I get here.
I wish that bike shops could bill medical insurance. It's
As part of
peace
your
mind,
health and
It's
wellness?
health and wellness.
Well, interesting. It's been done though. That's not yeah. I had a professor um, in my literature class in college, and he said nothing is original. Only the composition is original. Everything that goes into everything you think has already been done by somebody else. It's just a matter of how you construct it, put it together. So basically, people would say buy like what they do for ski tuning. You can buy at a discount, work on your skis. And there are bike shops that do offer season-long packages. And that's sort of a premium.
Well, we a lot of what our show is about is just talking about the industry, and bike mechanics a lot of the time get the short end of the stick as far as pay, and so we joke about that a lot. And one of the unique things about Jason here at the shop is, he has a low overhead, so he actually can make a living as a bike mechanic. Because most bike mechanics nowadays make $18 to $20 an hour.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
Given the level of skill, and frankly, there's a lot more art to it than even auto mechanics. Auto mechanics, it's they get Chiltons, and basically you follow the steps, A through Z. Here, it's a much more of a diagnosis. It's not just plug something into a computer and get a readout. Though there is a bit of that, right?
It's starting
with some stuff now,
Axis.
with some of the DI2
Right,
Axis.
right.
But
But up until now, it's more of a feel. It's almost like, I don't know if you ever read the Zed in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Great book. Great book.
I'm a little familiar with the bike.
But then Leonard Zinn came out with Zinn and the Art of Bicycle.
Yes.
Which was a different,
doing stuff by
little
feel,
play.
like bike,
Yeah, which is why I truly know I can never be a mechanic.
Well,
I don't. That side of my brain is totally undeveloped.
I think I've got 15 years being a mechanic, and Jason might have a few more on me. So we've been doing it a while, but it's the same thing in the industry. And now that Pros Closet, that was, I don't know where I'm going with this, but tying it all in with the industry and what's going on is kind of where I'm going with it. And
tied in by saying that you tied it.
I'm tying it in by saying I tied it in.
Very, very well done.
Well, that's good. Okay, what did the dad joke segment come on?
That is right now.
I did have one.
Why does a duck have feathers?
Are we doing? Go. Okay, you get one.
All right. To hide its butt quack.
You got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
I married my wife for her looks, just not the one she's been giving me lately.
100% true.
Wheat Ridge Cyclery pays $23 to $28 an hour, says the Curtis Cole. But they might be. Are they the only? I think
That's one of the only places that
for everyone, or
and gives you health insurance.
Yeah.
I will say that I have looked into employment at Wheat Ridge, and they do offer a health insurance, a couple different options with pay.
If anyone, all I have to say to that is if anyone should, it is them. They're literally the only bike shop that should, and they should be getting more than $28. My daughter makes $18 an hour before tips at the bakery she works at.
What do they make at that big truck shop in Boulder?
Big
Trek.
truck?
The Trek Superstore.
Oh, I have no idea.
Trek Superstore.
I have no idea.
It's a gorgeous shop.
Yeah.
If all you got is Trek, of course, but
some of those places pay well, and some of those places don't. Is my experience. I've been to great example is Performance. Was the worst Performance Cycles, the big chain store. It was like they were paying people $9 an hour to work there. It was terrible.
Oh, I could truly believe that.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff they had on there was pretty much direct.
Yeah, it's just basic stuff.
All right.
That's
We got to get the show back on the road.
Let's get this back on track, and so pros clause is closing. It's done. That's where we're at. Okay.
Yeah.
so. Is that,
We've talked about the history of it a little bit. How they blew through tens of millions of dollars in 4 years, basically just
Potentially up to
overextending
40
themselves
million.
on everything. And there's probably I'm going to say it. There are some secret things about money in that place that we will never know, because that is how it always goes, especially when there's a lot of money involved. Now, with all that said, is there let me put it this way: was the pros closet good for the consumer? And moving forward, now that they no longer exist, is it good? Is it better or worse off for the consumer that their options aren't there?
well, somebody's going to fill the void.
You think so?
Well, right now, I mean, you're consigned to Facebook Marketplace and eBay, and
Bicycle.com. If you'd been watching the World Championships last week, they were running advertisements constantly.
don't give me any spoiler alerts here. I do.
Well, I
know,
think-
I do know who won. It's
Yeah.
hard to walk away from that.
So-
no, I did not see it.
I'm gonna
was
I'm gonna
racing.
drop a turd in the punch bowl a little bit and say that I don't think that the pros closet was actually all that good for the average local Denver metro area consumer of used bikes. I think I would much prefer a healthy and vibrant peer-to-peer used marketplace than an intermediary who's trying to make money off of everybody else. I just think that that's better off. I think it's better for people who are trying to sell stuff. I think it's better for people who are trying to buy stuff. I think the pros closet at a certain point took advantage of a bit of a deception of what certified means because they only certified themselves. So basically, I get that certified is is a guarantee, but once you get online, and I saw plenty of bikes come through here that people had bought there that needed X, Y, and Z after purchase. And then people are like, "Well, should I take it up with them?" That's between you and your conscience and your wallet at that point.
And with doing stuff, we know anytime you're dealing with shipping, a huge thing is, yeah, you can get a great deal from an online brand, like, even on new bikes.
Right.
But anytime you have a problem, are you going to ship the bike back? We're lucky
Right.
that we're here in Denver because you can go there.
You could go there.
But if
Yeah.
you're somewhere else in the country,
Oh, you're totally.
Which
screwed.
is popped up for a lot of people when they try to deal with things. They had less than positive experiences.
Yeah, because
trying to deal with.
they didn't have any satellite. I mean,
Yeah.
really, what you should have is a network and just subcontract out to shops who are going to be TPC affiliates.
See, TPC, if you'd done that, you'd still be in business, baby.
well, it's
Maybe not.
it's
I
what
Maybe
have a
not.
feeling it's well beyond that.
Yeah.
what's the you're dealing with used bikes, and a lot of there's already things out there that you can do. There's eBay, there's Craigslist, there's Facebook. At what point does the intermediary, what Pros Closet was trying to do was buy a bike, do some service so it was certified and ready for the person to ride, and then sell it with a certification, kind of like what CarMax does.
Well, and they're buying the bike. They tried to. I think a lot of what we're talking about is post 2020 and later, after they received their influx of money and their business changed. It was buy a bike, but it was buy a bike for really more than what the used market was showing that bike should sell for. They were doing that for a few years, buying bikes for too much money. Okay, so that does damage to the local used market. It overinflates the price, right? Because people are like, oh, Pros Closet, we're buying these bikes for this much money, and I can't get that much. You couldn't sell your bike for that.
Oh,
much
I just had
Yeah.
I saw the exact experience.
Yeah.
Somebody was selling the exact bike in the same size that I sold to TPC about a week after I closed my deal. And I got on Facebook and I just said, the exact price that TPC just gave me.
Right.
As a matter of fact, he was lower. He was lower than TPC gave
yeah.
me. And my bike had a little wear. It had some scratches on it. Wasn't mint. It was very good condition, but it wasn't mint. And that bike, he never sold.
Right.
No, never got his price.
So, and then they offer the illusion's not quite the right word, but somewhat of an illusion of this idea of being certified. It's cleaned, it's gone through, it's washed, it's double checked, and that is certified. And the idea is that this bike is perfect, ready to go, right? Not always the case. Many times
Well,
is
mine
the
was
case.
not perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, my brake kind of fell off during mid ride.
So I think the presence of the pros closet locally, it created a weird perspective on the local used bike market in terms of like what you should get for things, how easy it should be, what condition things should be in. People who might have bought, a perfectly good bike from a local seller, individual person, ends up buying something maybe not as good from the pros closet because they believe they're getting something that's guaranteed to be perfect or whatever. And
they've got somebody to go back to. Anything you buy off Facebook Marketplace or eBay,
you're done.
As is, and that's it.
But that's that cost that has to get baked into the resale of that, and then somebody's got to swallow that cost or try to get it from you.
But it's worth it. I think if you've got somebody to go back to, like in my experience, I had somebody to go back to. I mean, I would have had to. I mean, to fix that brake would have been at least $150, probably more than that.
Right.
So, I think to me, I did not pay a premium. I mean, I say that.
Right. Yeah. And you were in the position of being able to play the game very well with credit, extra parts, a bike, that you sold to them.
Yeah, it was a bit of a Goldilocks situation.
Yeah, you did well with it.
I'll admit that.
I mean, yeah, for local, I think local, it's a better deal. I will say I do a lot of stuff on eBay, and eBay's been great. I've had a couple situations where stuff has either not shown up or not been as advertised, and eBay has refunded me.
Right. I've sold bikes on eBay with very good experiences, except one.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds so trite.
Yeah.
I actually sold my bike to somebody from Nigeria.
A prince?
Was it a prince?
He was allegedly royalty, but he put up the money, and then, sure enough, what happened? Said it never showed up. It never showed up. And so I worked through, and this is another loss. There was everyone goes to bike flights now.
Sure.
All right.
Yep.
But there used to be another smaller company that really was more like Jason, just somebody who would walk around with a cell phone. Shipbikes.com. They were so much cheaper than. So I would send my bike from New Jersey out to Colorado because I had a house out here. So when I was going out, I'd ship my bike. Shipping the bike without it was just $100 insurance.
Yeah.
Like $60.
Right.
$60. FedEx. So all I would do is drop it off at a FedEx shipping center and ship it to a FedEx shipping center.
Yep.
So I could pick it up, and there was one on Milwaukee downtown in Cherry Creek.
Yep.
And I could go in there anytime and pick it up, so it was convenient. I just did the same thing now. I shipped the bike, the Bianchi you worked on.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how much that was? Through bike flights.
Through bike flights, $125.
200.
Woo.
200.
Can't keep up with the inflation.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into shipping because there's different tiers.
Sure.
In freight, but let's jump back onto the pros closet. Yeah, I mean, there's different. I personally think that it should be a customer and a customer, and like eBay or Facebook. where
Well,
a
and I
customer
think-
and a customer make the deal.
Yeah, and I think
Like-
I'm with you, and I think that just needs to be on you as a
It's a
buyer
used bike.
to do your best. Like I believe that you need to be a responsible buyer. Ooh,
That was a
weird noise, right? You need to be a responsible buyer. Take it, maybe get meet the person who's selling the bike at a bike shop. Have it gone through. Bike shops will do that for you. We've talked about that. They'll help you out with that because you know why? They're gonna,
Right.
if it needs any work, they're gonna make a few dollars on you. And they're always, most bike shops are into making goodwill. They're into it.
Yeah.
But so I'm a fan of that. I think sort of the idea of taking some of this off of the responsibility in a sense off of us and assuming that a third party is going to have our best interests in mind. I don't know if that's what I'm most comfortable with.
The advantage, though, of the professionalism that their website offers
Sure, yeah.
is, you look at a Facebook Marketplace post, and they will, sometimes they don't even put the size of the bike.
Yeah, they don't know even what they don't know what they're selling.
They never. Sometimes they put the year if you're lucky.
Yeah, the
if
photos
you're
of the
super
bike
lucky,
in their
the year that they
garage
put
with the
down is
snowblower still in
correct.
front of it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and they don't have all of the info and data that you need to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
So inevitably,
Okay,
what you do is
so
you
let's-
start getting in touch with the buyer, and maybe they get back to you, maybe they don't. That was my experience with Pros Closet. It was really good.
So let me reframe our thinking on it then a little bit. So in the interest of buying and selling of used bikes, at what, let's say, price point or level of rider does something like the Pros Closet come into play as actually being quite beneficial? Because I think if you're spending less than $1,500 on a bike, does all this stuff really matter? Like,
No.
I guess it depends on you and your own bank account, but like,
to me, 5,000 is that entry level.
so yeah, you start to broach into that.
5,000 to 7,500.
You start spending.
I don't
Yeah,
think most people want to go above 7,500 for used, and even there,
that's
rare.
I agree. We
That's
were talking
rare.
about
That's
that.
gotta
At
be
what point
a special
does
bike.
it break off that you're like, oh, if I can spend $7,000 used, I can spend $9,000 new. Like that's like that person. That's
I
not,
think this.
Well,
yeah.
right, except that the $9,000 bike is
Yeah.
not what the $7,000 bike is.
Sure, yeah, but
Like it's like an Epic. Epic is what now? The new Epic
14.
is 14.
yeah,
14, and you can get them almost everywhere for anywhere from 5 to 6,500. So that's a market
yeah.
that exists, and it's catch as catch can. I don't know about you. I don't want to read Facebook Marketplace every day. I don't want to go through. I don't want to go through that. I actually would prefer to stay away from Facebook completely.
Yeah, I think that another thing is that this is definitely a higher price point than I think the average public
Yeah.
would go into.
It's niche. It's absolutely it's a niche product.
Which I think again brings us back to the fact that they overbuilt their business
For one small segment.
for what actually proves to be a niche.
And a
That's
big
a good point, actually.
That's probably
that. I'm going off my experience, but how many of? I mean, there's a lot of me, but not as many me as you might think to support a factory of 130,000.
130,000.
Oh.
I mean, that's a massive warehouse.
I mean, have you been inside it?
no, but I have.
I was. So it is even more massive when you're there because you cannot see all the way to the other end.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, disproving the flat Earth theory. Okay. I just got to get that in.
That's another show, Flat Earth. We're going to cover that on another show.
We are definitely going to cover that.
I believe the Earth is a hot dog
I believe it's a rhombus.
shape. But we're going to get into different
rhomboid.
shapes of Earth on another episode. I think it's a niche market. It's definitely the higher end. It doesn't make a sense a couple of things happened too when a lot of the investment went into this. Is the COVID spike happened. So when COVID-19 happened, the industry, like 2019, the industry was up like 26%. I mean, that's massive for an industry, through the whole industry. And so it's like, hey, maybe this is going to work. Maybe this is going to be the next big thing. And we're going to just put a ton into marketing. We're going to expand and we're going to just own this market. And then 2021 hits and we're in this weird limbo of like, we can't get inventory, we can't get bikes, but stuff's still selling. And then 2022 hits and it just drops. The whole industry drops.
Right.
Like a rock.
See, part of the thing that, if I could put myself in their place, what I'd be looking at is the supply chain issues that we had during the pandemic. And you're buying used, you don't have to worry about supply chain.
Until you need to replace a derailleur.
Right, but nobody's thinking about that.
Well, no, if you're buying a used bike and you have to replace something that you can't get, I don't know if that was an issue, but...
I think if you believed you needed to replace a derailleur, you probably wouldn't buy the bike. I think the buyers were not even considering that.
Yeah.
The problem with that is the people who made out based on the pandemic are the visionaries who looked past the pandemic, who were able to look and say, "This is going to pass." All of this is we're so focused on it. And plus, the elections don't help. It just forces you to constantly think about the price of everything right now, and we're still shaking out. It's 4 years. It's a blip.
Yeah.
So, but if you based your opinions based upon data you were getting from the pandemic, which is the supply chain issues, because eventually those are going to get worked out. So. And once they are, then the price of things eventually should drop. Should drop. And I believe it will.
Well, but it did, and now they've dropped.
Now, well, we're in
all
a
the
weird spot where stuff is somewhat still spiked, but companies can't sell stuff. It is a weird market right now.
Yeah.
For the bike industry.
Yeah.
I was at a company that did $6 million before the pandemic, and then the next year they did 10 million. Like, that's the difference of something I saw and I can attest to, is like that's huge. I mean, there was like, they couldn't, I mean, I got hired in on that period because they couldn't keep up. I mean, there was a stack of like 20 some bikes that needed to get shipped and tuned and sent out. So I mean, a lot of people were like, maybe this is going to keep going. But really what happened
wasn't. Yeah.
Is everybody who is mildly interested in cycling bought a bike, and now no one's interested.
Yeah, we've definitely stopped having any new customers. And
the Lux market will only in this take you so far.
Yeah.
Because even people, they're going to get one bike. The people, the super wealthy, they're going to get their Ferrari bike or whatever, badged it is, and they're not like me. They don't have 12 bikes. If they had 12 bikes, they wouldn't be focused on a Lux machine.
One singular.
They would get a good machine that actually did the job for a reasonable amount of money.
Well, every time there's a recession, I've been through a couple now. All of the high-end shops.
Old man.
This
old guy here.
Mildly. But all the high-end shops suffer. I mean, shops close. Every time there's a downturn, everyone that's hyper-focused on high-end, I mean, I was here in Denver I moved here in 2009, and that year, like, multiple shops closed that were like Denver staples, like the Denver Spoke.
Turin,
that was later, but yeah, like the Denver Spoke was in. I think they had like spots in the movie American Flyers. Like, they were like a Denver staple shop. But yeah, like every time that there is a downturn, all the high-end shops go, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, because people stop spending money and they're like, you know what, I'll keep my $12,000 bike for another year and I'm not going to buy anything this year.
Right. I mean, also, I think shops experienced all the sales for the shift to disc brakes. So all of a sudden, wheels are flying off.
There was a moment actually where TPC stopped accepting
Rim brakes.
rim brake road bikes in the last year or so, which was interesting.
Did
Merely an observation.
they did electric mountain bikes? But another interesting thing that's happening in the industry right now is how many people are switching from regular bikes to e-bikes. And
Yeah. They're doing e-bikes.
they're doing
Oh,
e-bikes.
they did.
Yeah, they were doing.
We got to get used to you talking about TPC in the past tense because they are fucking done.
They're closed.
Are they actually closed now?
And
I don't know. October 1st was
because
their, right?
I saw a sale today, like 90% off, and I clicked on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't 90% off. So I don't know. Maybe there was one item that was 90% off.
It's supposed to be 75% off.
But they were selling wheel sets one wheel at a time.
I think the big thing is used bikes. Really, that's the point I want to make is I think for some of the things cool, like the point you mentioned about interesting weird stuff like the bike you have on screen. Let me put that up.
Part of their museum. But
But yeah, if you're looking
Le Mans Tour de France bike.
yeah.
If you're putting, something interesting, if you're hitting a couple different niches, great. But like, geez.
The great thing on this bike is it's got the Coca-Cola shim for the profile bars. You can't see it here.
Yeah,
But
25.
There's a head-on shot of him coming down the Champs-Elysees.
Yeah.
And you can actually see the Coca-Cola shim.
Yeah.
In there on the.
Is it 25.4 to 26.0? And if you don't put the shim in, it cracks the faceplate of your stem, and your face goes into the ground. Things only bike mechanics.
People would say that would be an improvement.
And nerds are into it. Well, that's. I mean, we can go on about a lot of this stuff. That's
Did
probably about
you
it
actually get this to work?
Well, it's in. I don't. It's not good.
It's not trustworthy. That's what you're
No, it's medium. See.
saying. Yeah,
Nope.
that was my experience. So
Yeah.
better to just forget about it.
So
I've asked them for a new one. So,
Yeah.
So let's maybe next week we could come back and talk about Wahoo customer service.
We'll see moving forward though if there's who moves in to take the place of the pros closet. And how they do it. Bicycle is out there now, but they're basically a hosting platform for peer-to-peer sales. And they're going to take their cut, which is what eBay is.
I don't see anybody coming in to fill that. I think I think it was a one-off, and I think it's such a massive failure that what kind of self-respecting bank in this economic environment is going to shell out that kind of money?
Nobody. Well, and I think
what I haven't heard of is there a bankruptcy involved or
we haven't read it yet.
Or a workout. That I would imagine there would be a workout.
There's got to be something.
There's got to be a bankruptcy.
Right now, it just says going out of business, but
somebody's not getting paid.
The financial issues will have to be sussed out, and there will be some very sad people.
The debtors will be in line.
Yeah.
And also, 200 some employees. Was it 200?
I have no idea.
It was a fair amount of people. That
I mean, I know.
When
I
was
know
there,
one person.
There were at least 60 people in the building.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's a major bummer. I don't wish that on anybody.
I was also. I mean, I was part of the 2022 layoff, and it sucks because being laid off in the industry at this time, no one else is hiring. Like, you're in a downturn.
Yeah.
So you have specialized knowledge in the bike industry. What are you gonna go do?
Yep.
And I've fallen into this several times.
And
you
bike
know.
shops aren't offering severance, I assume.
No, they
No.
barely offer health insurance,
No,
let
they're not
alone.
offering severance.
Big,
You just
big
don't
high
have a job anymore.
deductibles, I assume.
If you say severance, a bike shop owner will laugh.
Right. He'll think you're talking about the TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
He'd be like, good luck
There's
with
no
unemployment.
severance. You got to start looking. I mean, I got my CDL, my truck driver's license, just so I had something to go to, because the bike industry, like, I've had ups and downs in the industry, and I'm like, I got to have something that I can just jump into and go and do. So
Now, what's your experience, Jason? Like the last, you opened this up 4 years ago?
Well,
Maybe before that, right? Didn't you
yeah, it's
sell your shop pre-pandemic?
so see what you see here?
Yeah.
This existed like this from 2009 to 2012. Except that workbench was over there. I opened my retail store in 2012 and ran it until 2019, closed it down. And then was unsure about what I would do. COVID happened in 2020 and basically brought me back to this, and this has been it since.
So do you see a progression in your business?
For me, well, yeah. I mean, I've been growing every year.
Yeah.
So,
yes,
but
No, I mean, you just invested in a
but
new
just-
tracking system,
yeah,
which is the same one that TPC used.
yeah. My
Yeah.
Hub Tiger.
you might want to think twice. Hub Tiger.
Did Hub Tiger tank TPC? Oh, the conspiracies.
It was Hub Tiger was wonderful for getting updates on the repairs to my bike,
Oh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was able to communicate with them. And then after you
Yeah.
do that, you don't know who the person is that you're dealing with. Then I went in and they said, yeah, why don't you go in the back and talk to the mechanic?
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
I mean, maybe they were just focused on me. Maybe they thought I was going to be on a YouTube channel. And maybe I could
They
say
just got the
something.
timing so wrong.
At
If
9
TPC
o'clock.
had been like a month later, they'd still be in business because
Yeah.
of this show.
another 10 million investment.
Well, they would have
come in.
They would have come lining
Okay,
up.
well, you're not going out though. You're
No.
you're not going anywhere. Right?
No.
No,
This
there's-
is my
Because I don't know
Current-
what I would do.
my current point of view is that cities, especially bike-heavy cities like Denver, especially Denver's even a little bit more unique in that it's bike-heavy, but also bike-heavy with a heavy dose of the upper end of customers, right? Those places, so Denver, we'll say, but need to have more businesses like mine. There need to be more small individual people who have their niche, who have their customer base, who they serve, who you can come to at 8:30 at night and drop off your tubulars to.
Yeah, ideally, you'd be right at the light rail station,
Well, yeah.
which is really how Denver, all the areas in Denver, where there are commercial areas, like in Park Hill,
Yeah.
out of nowhere, all of a sudden you've got this gorgeous commercial area
Right.
of small mom and pop shops, and just about everything you need within a 3-block radius. And you wonder, how did this arrive here? What's going on here? And it's always because it was inevitably a trolley station
Right.
back in the day,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where everybody went. And
Yeah.
you could get a little more, Well, I mean, I have to drive, from
Drive a little
hell-
The
bit.
hell to
interesting-
eternity
To
to get
well,
here.
it's across Denver.
Well,
But-
you said the first day we met, he said, "Yeah, you're about as far from me as it's possible to get in Denver."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And I went even further because now I'm in Central
now
Park.
you're in Central Park, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
But that's my perspective. Is I think there is a better market for more small people than there is for a few big people, and like TPC or like whoever else. Like
Yeah, it's really risky. I think getting it at that level, I think people are looking for a personal touch. They would, I think people get nervous when they drop off a $14,000 bicycle and they don't know the guy who's working on it.
Correct.
And it's not
Agreed.
it's not necessarily because all of these machines have their own little quirks.
Well, you're dropping it off at a facility, not
And-
not to a person.
Right, and you have
I think, the
historical,
difference.
and you have the historical knowledge of what's been done to the bike. Plus, now it's all in your billing system. I could go back in my email and I could see everything that was done on my bike, because at times I'm like, when did I change that seal? If I did it,
Yeah,
I-
just maintenance intervals.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, I had to
yeah,
correct
having
Curtis. He
that
says
kind of-
Gingy closed. No, Gingy moved and restructured.
It was a restructure. It's corporate. Remember, it's a Gingy group now.
Yes, right. The Gingy Cycle Group.
what are we gonna do, Gigi and Son? You know.
Right.
The one I always liked was there was an insurance company in New Jersey, and it was like a brokerage, and it was I think the guy's name was Russ and daughter, which you never see. It's always Russ and son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have two daughters, so
Yeah.
so you could do that.
Well,
Yeah.
the one thing that
two.
closes
Yeah,
bike
two.
shops is actually carrying bicycles. It's a big theme that we've talked about. Just the debt cycle, the finances of
Yeah.
taking on a massive amount of debt. So I think that the bicycle itself has taken another shop.
Yeah.
You know, if you carry bikes,
So
it's no bueno.
Your,
Well,
your
here's
days are numbered.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
And the reason that
Is Trek going to come in? Or Specialized? Are they going to take over the facility?
No
no.
way.
Yeah,
It's
they're
too big.
I've said that.
It's
no,
too big.
It's
Yeah.
Specialized in Trek.
The Specialized already tried to buy.
Maybe they'll do Trekalized.
Pearls.
Specialized already tried to buy Pearl Izumi's high Zootin' Falutin place
Yeah.
in
Louisville.
Boulder. Yeah,
It's
Louisville. Yeah,
Louisville, yeah.
same thing. And what have they done? That was their supposed to be their experience center. Is it still there? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No. But now they only have. Aren't the Waltons buying out Trek anyway? But anyway, they only have so
Yes.
many. They only have so many matches they can burn financially too. I don't think they have it. I don't think anybody can burn themselves on a massive facility like that.
Yeah, where's the money in Trek? Who's actually putting the money into Trek?
Trek.
One of the Waltons is.
I haven't followed.
I think it's Wheatridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Which means it's
No, everything. I mean, even all the big manufacturers are hurting, and there's a big infusion of money into Trek.
So it appears to me like basically you're going to end up with Trek, Specialized, and Nice Bikes.
well, and Giant. I mean, Giant's not
Giant,
going anywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they've resisted the company stores pretty well. They're actually one of the only major manufacturers and dealers who's committed to their dealer network. I give them credit for it.
Yeah.
They were
What it's
actually
worth.
yeah, when I got my Giant, when I
Yeah.
got the Anthem, yeah, they were definitely supportive. I got it in a very small shop up in Sussex County. Like, did you ever hear of Traction Park?
No.
It was Action Park.
Okay.
It was the most. There's actually
The deadliest park in New
deadliest
Jersey.
amusement
you
park.
know, yeah.
Yes. So that's what we went to as kids. That was.
Yeah.
They had go karts that actually went 50 miles an hour.
Oh, nice.
It was unbelievable. The Alpine slide had no safeguards at all, and people died. I mean, yeah. But it was not every day.
And people
The
always
water
die.
slide.
People always die when you're having
Yeah,
fun.
the water slides, the unsupervised water slides.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're like
It's a
200
joke.
feet high.
Yeah.
It was great. It was the best thing ever.
Until you got stuck
Until
in
you
a
were
death
dead.
trap.
Well,
Everything's great until you're dead.
A rusty nail snags you.
Yeah.
What's the redneck's famous last words?
Hold my beer.
Yeah. Hey, you don't look at
Yeah,
this.
take it.
Hey y'all, look at this.
Hi, y'all.
All right, I think it's time.
Okay.
It's
With
nice.
that, I've enjoyed.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
hanging
you.
out.
You know, this is actually the first time I have been on a video in many years. I actually was on Doctor Radio on Sirius, which was XM radio,
Yeah.
XM satellite radio. At that point, because I used to run a pro cycling team. So I got asked, somebody said something to somebody, and they wanted my opinion on doping because the whole Lance thing was
Yeah.
blowing up at that point. So
Right.
they asked for my opinion. And
Yeah.
And
I gave it.
you gave it
I gave
as
it.
tactfully as you
I gave
can.
it very tactfully. You know, the great unknown.
Yeah.
I was actually working for Carmichael Training Systems when that all came out, when the whole Lance thing came out on the Pro Challenge. It was a little awkward because that was his coach.
Right, that was his boy.
That's his coach.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I can't even say it. It's just
Another
Another
episode.
time.
It's another episode.
That's
It's another episode. We'll get a panel.
We can't get into that.
Yeah.
This
And
has
that's
nothing to
something I
do.
would be hesitant to, being the lawyer that I am, the circumspect lawyer. The opinions that I have, I don't think should be going out on the airwaves. If you turn the camera off and pour the
More beer.
trace, then we'll.
All right. Well, we're no longer live, ladies and gentlemen. So.
You heard it here first. Okay.
All right,
well,
well-
thanks for joining us.
Hey, that
We'll
was the
see
show
ya.
you didn't know was coming.
It was the show we didn't know was
fucking
coming.
know. We didn't even know because
The party.
it's always
But
good when Rich.
I
shows
got to
up.
get home. I got to shoot in the morning. I got to put a camera on the back of a Tahoe and shoot construction
You
equipment.
should be
So
sober for that.
I got
You
it.
do this stuff. Is this
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
little side gig?
Yeah.
So bam,
Bam, bam.
stream is off.